Welcome back to the Viper Miner channel. So today I want to talk about kind of like what I'm doing prior to the merge. And I started going through the process, and I thought, oh, this would be a great video, and I probably should put it out because a lot of us have all we've been mining for a couple of years now is ETH. So how do you get your rigs ready to switch over to another coin? ETC is easy. It's a swap, literally swap the flight sheet coin, and you can go with the same overclock, same everything, same miner, same everything. It's basically the same. However, if you're going to do ERGO, Flux, Raven, Naxa, any other basically coin that you want to go out there and look at, you're going to have to change not just the flight sheet, which is simple to do, but it's also you're going to have to change your overclocks. And so a lot of us have got overclocks that have been set and never changed in years. So what do? Not only that, but let's assume that you've got, I don't know, a 3070, a 1660 Super, even some of the 3080s. You've been mining those now for years, right? So they're not brand new. You're not gonna maybe be able to push the memory and the core as hard as you have in the past. So you're kind of starting from scratch. I mean, literally, you are starting from scratch on some of these. So I thought I'd go through my process and how I do it, and we'll go, just kind of switch to computer screens here. What I have is I was going to do this on my test bench, but if you watch my last video, you know the motherboard I got in from Amazon was DOA, so my test bench is now my 2060 card rig running. So what I did is I started doing Flux as my first coin to get my overclocks on my 2060s. Now I've done this for my other cards, and so it's fresh in my head because it's recent, and I thought I'd share this with you guys. So I've already saved my overclocks. I'm going to remove my overclocks. Now, if you're not familiar with Hive all that much, because you're new to mining, you can individually change each overclock on each card, or you can change all the cards at one time. So we're just going to do this. And actually, I'm going to stop this for a minute. It is very good to stop your miner before you change your overclocks. All right, so we're going to, if you put nothing in there, it'll be the default value of the card. Now I am going to leave the power, and I didn't mean to leave the fan at 100%. If you watch my videos, you understand that I always leave my fans at 100%, especially in the summer here in Florida. I'd rather replace a fan blade or a fan housing or anything like that versus replacing the entire GPU. All right, so we're going to hit save, and that's going to take a minute. So you can come over here and hit refresh. Once we see, yep, and then actually if you wait another second or two, if you get nothing else, then you're golden. If you wait another up to like a minute, if you're unsure of a clock that you did, you will get a yellow warning here saying unable to set all clocks. So now that we got no overclocks, we can see now we have a base, right? So we have 35, 34, 33, 34, 32, 35. That right there tells me that we have Silicon Lottery mix of everywhere, right? Because normally I either get the same power on a same card, and these are all identical cards. These are all EVG 2060 KO cards. Now the KO card, and I didn't realize that they were KO cards when I bought them, but the KO cards are very similar to the 2070, the next generation up. They forgot to turn off a bunch of things that would make it the 2060. And so they just instead of scrapping all that, they just called it the KO. So it has some more oomph between than the regular 2060 has and the 2070. So it's somewhere in between, which is kind of nice. And I got these dirt cheap. Like I said in another video, I got these off a colleague. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start up the miner, and then we'll have our baseline. And that is very, very important, because what is your baseline, right? So now, while that's starting, one of the first things I go do is I go over to what to mine. And in what to mine, you will see I put the 2060 in here, but now you hover over that and it'll tell you what the TDP is, and they're using plus 100 or plus 200, and that's I'm pretty sure that means Windows versus Linux. That's nice. I've never found that to be useful, but what I find useful is Zelhash. Zelhash. This is Flux now. So they're saying out of 2060, I should be getting 39 souls. They say hash, right? Hash per second, but it's actually souls. So that's what I should be getting. And now that I even say that, is that truly hash for something else, or is it souls because it's Flux? I don't know if that's an exact number. And you'll see why I say that, I question that. So now that we're up and running, natively, without any overclocks, excuse me, we're getting 3720.25, 3792, 36. Now remember, and I find Flux, no matter what card I mine Flux on, it fluctuates. 37, 3789, 38. So pretty close on some of the cards to the 39 that what the mine is saying. And if we look at GPU 1 and 2, GPU 1 and 2, I notice that's 117 versus 123 in power. I mean, and the power is even kind of all over the map. So I can't, this is really silicon lottery here. And this is a really good example of, you could take somebody else's overclocks and you may not get the same results. In fact, you may even crash your card with it, depending on what it is. So, so let's start with something simple, right? So what I am going to go do is I am going to do one card at a time, right? So I'm going to do, let's do 1600 and 1000 memory, and let's apply that. And we're gonna have to hit refresh a couple times to see if we get, I'll delete all those. One more time. I didn't see my clock being set. I had this happen once before on Hive. So I'm going to, let's see if I can get command sent, good. I should see that the package was sent. I just did a control F5, which removes cache as well. All right, so I got my native settings been applied. I'm gonna do control 5 one more time just to make sure there's no errors. Okay, so I got errors. So we're gonna start at 1500, I guess. All right, so our power automatically dropped because we're pushing the core in a lock state. Anything above 500 is in a lock state, which is, I think, the better direction to go. I didn't try any negative numbers. There are some negative numbers out there, and I actually skipped a step. Sorry guys. How did I come up with 1500 and 1000 off the top of my head, right? So if you go into an individual card, you have popular settings, you select your coin, And if you do it on an individual card, it will automatically detect the card, right? And let me show you what I'm talking about. So if I do all, right, and I say popular settings, and I say coin, Flux, I got to go find my card at this point. So it's not correct. I find that you got to do individual and find Flux. Got my GeForce RTX 2060 and it's got 6 meg in it, or 6 gig in it. All right, so you notice the first one's 125. Now remember, anything over 500 on the core is locked in HIVEOS. Okay, so we got 1250 and amendment 1850, 1600, amendment 1000. I kind of like this one. That's where I pulled the 1600 out of my hat there, because Flux is more core intensive than memory intensive. Okay, so I want that core to be utilized more than the memory. So I think this is a good way to start, right? So we're going to actually not change that since we have it at 1500. Let's see what we're getting for results. So our results are 36.8 at 105 watts. So let's go ahead and move that to 1600 now and see what we got. And we got the 1000. And this is, if you go into the popular resets, you'll also see card analogy. So this is like 9% of the 2060s out there are using this setting, 6%, 5%. I mean, you can go down and down and down and find. I mean, there's 1100 here, 1900 mem. There's no guarantee that these are, going to help you out. Who knows what they're trying to accomplish, right? And actually, let me select Flux here, and you'll see this that probably change as well. So here's a 1250 by 2140, a 50 by 1025. I mean, 160. I actually don't see anybody going negative on here. But again, it's core intense. So I kind of want to push the core, and then this way I can, and if I'm above 500, I can start dropping the wattage as well. Now, the nice thing about this too is, and so what you're seeing is that this is on this algorithm, and so we're using Flux, but this algorithm is also K-pool, Z-pool, Z-hash. So these are like nice hash. So you need to test, I guess that's what I'm trying to get to. So what I'm trying to say is I'm looking here, 1250, 1600, 1000. I think the memory is too high here. I really don't want the memory to be that high because most of the calculations are being done on the core, right? So now what we got? We got 3711 at 110 watts. So we went up a little bit, but we also went up in power, right? So what happens if and it's showing my rigs offline. That's the other thing too, is really nice. I use 2 miners on my ETH, so 2 miners dings me every time one of my rigs go offline. All right, so let's say we move this to 1200 and see what we get. So that you gotta just kind of play with it, right? And what you're gonna see is not much of a change. All right, so there's my setting. So I know my setting went in, so it's been taken. I got no error. 37.4, so we'll let that sit for a little bit more. 37.14. 37.14. So not a big change, right? My power did go down from 110 to 108. Now, you'll also notice there is 1600, 160, 1600, 1250, but 1850. I really don't, I'm not a big fan of pushing the memory that hard, but there's also a 1250 here now with a 2100. So let's try that. What do we get on that? What's that dial us into? Where this way we can tweak from a point in which we see good results for efficiency, right? It's not just about how fast I can get my hash rate. I'm going to explain that to you as well. Efficiency has an untangible thing from HIVEOS to the pool, and I'll show you what I mean on that. All right, so let's refresh. All right, I got my next settings here. So I'm going to delete that. This way we keep what we're going on here. And notice also on the by being native, because I got the power running so high, this card's already hot. All right, so actually what we're going to do at the same time here is we're going to drop this to 1250. And we'll move that to 1000. Let's see what happens on that card. That should drop the temperature and the wattage. So now my wattage is at 84. Now we're starting getting somewhere, right? And I'm at 37.7 for my 30.6. So, and remember, Flux moves around. 37.6 still. Whoops, sorry guys, I hit the wrong button on my window there. 37, so now we're at 36.8 because we're sacrificing power, so we're sacrificing hash rate. But at 36.8, I'm still kind of happy because I'm below the 90 threat. I'm below the 100 where I want to be below 100. But I'm below the 90 threshold, which is my next, if I can get that, that's fantastic. All right. And then, so you notice it right away, as soon as we moved that to 1250 and 1000, we got 82 watts and our temperature went back in line, right? All right, so now let's try one more thing. Let's try boosting this a little bit higher. And actually, this is a great comparison. We got 1250 to 1250, 2100 to 1000, 36, 36, exact same hash rate. And I'm not pushing the memory, it's fast and hard. So let's do the 1000 here. Now, let's move this to 1470. And let's try this one at, since we're already there, 1305. And I'll explain why I got the 5. That was a little bit easier math for some reason in my head. At least it came to me. I think I'm off on this one. All right, so let's see if we get any errors. And our package has been delivered. Packages have been delivered and applied. And no errors. One more refresh. No errors. Okay, so now we're at 35.89 on the 1470 1000. All right. And we're at 35.88 on the 1000, 1305. So basically the same hash rate on both cards. Now 90 versus 98, 8-watt difference. That's significant when you start adding 7, 8, 10, 12, 20 cards, right? So let's see if we hang there still. 87, 100. And we're at 3562, 3591. So our hash rate has dropped as we start mining. All right, so A little bit of a difference, also a difference in the wattage, right? So now this has come back up to 3615, and we're still at 3540 here. 100 watts versus 87. What should we do? Now remember, we had silicon lottery in here that was pretty random for us. So I think what we're going to try doing is we don't know exactly what's going on. So we're going to do, and this is really trial and error, guys. And you really can't use, I mean, you can use as a starting point somebody else's overclocks, but you cannot think that's it. So please, when you're thinking, oh look, this coin's starting to move, we got great discovery on it, and we got what is going on here? I keep not focused on the window. Hang on, where's my mouse? I lost my mouse. There's my mouse. Oh yeah, great. Oops. All right, start this again. All right, so 1470. 1470. Whoops. And then we're going to do, sorry guys, my throat was very hoarse today. 1305 and 1305. So 1470, 1470, 1470, 1305, 1305, and we'll leave the mem at 1000 since they're both at 1000. Save. And now because we did everything at one time, it sends it, the setting shows a little different there, so it switches to that. So we are good there, and we got no errors. Let me show you what an error looks like, so this way you guys know what I'm talking about. So unfortunately, I cannot set this card below 125. So let's set it to 100 because that's kind of where we want to be, and we know the card has ran at 100, right? This card's running below 100 already. All right, so we sent it just now, 15 seconds ago. So I said you got to give it a minute. NVIDIA settings applied with errors, right? So if we go click in that, it'll give us our error. So you know, it's our first one that we did. Power limit invalid value needs to be 125 to 170. That's the range, right? So we need to change that back to 125. Delete all that, and we will see that we got that and no errors. Okay. All right, so, and again, as predicted, we're kind of all over the map, right? Even with this one here, 1305, 1000, 3460 souls, 36, 36, 36, 37, 36. So these are all within, you know, a point. This one's down 2, basically. It could just be the card. So what happened? Oh, and actually, I take that back. So I know outside this is, yeah, this is still down 2. This is 14. I was thinking that was 14. All right, so 3505, 1305, 1000, 13,000, 1000, right? All right, so what happens if we juice these to 1100? Give the memory a little more oomph. And we come through here. And again, we're going to play with this. And because we did the full-blown overclock, you get the blue NVIDIA overclock. And once it turns green, that settings are applied, we are good to go. And we are good to go. The nice thing is if you do it this way, this would actually give you the yellow warning if we had a bad setting. All right, so we're gonna wait for the miner to like kind of full blown in here. That's what's really kind of nice. If you do stop the miner through this, I highly recommend that. I know I'm not, but that would really take this video and make it even longer. And this is a long process. This is a trial and error process. This is not an overnight process. This is why I keep telling people you need to make sure that the your rigs are set, or at least your overclocks are set, and you save the overclocks, and then you could go back to ETH if you like. I want to do one more experiment, and I think we're going to dial in. Remember, my goal is to be under 100 to or less. I want to move this to 1,000 as well. And I'm going to move this one to 1,000. And then I want to move the core just simply down a little bit. I'm going to go 10 there. I'll go 20 down here. And now I know even within these three cards that I am getting difference in lottery here, but it's close enough to. All right, so what do we get now for power and for hash? All right, once we get there, so all been applied. So we're at 36, 36, 36. This one's the same. Why did I kind of messed that up, didn't I? Oh, 14, that's what, because I'm already at 1430, 1440, 1460. Oh, no, that's right. Sorry. No, 1440. Having a brain fart today. All right, there we go. 1440, 1450, 1460. I truly can't count by tens, but been a long day already. And it's not even 2 o'clock yet. All right, so we'll let that last one settle in. All right. 97, 97, 97. So really, the 10 didn't really do a whole lot. We are under 100. We got 36, 36, 47, 36, 47. Really, this is kind of the sweet spot right here, it looks like. All right, so what happens if, so this is 1305 on 1100, and really we didn't notice that much more except for a watt going up. 35, 35. So what happens if we take this down to, let's do this one, we can compare. 1420, and then this one to 1400. All right. And I guess we can go for something like a 1360. All right. Let's close that. We should have like 4 new ones coming in. Up. Oh, sorry guys, I did it again. The home button and the refresh button are so close to each other. All right. The wattage didn't drop on that last one as much as I thought it should. Oh, not a fair test on this. Hang on. My bad. And that's just it. You have to be meticulous going through here. What you don't see is I copied and put everything to a sticky note. Oh, not the fan. I have done that And I repeatedly have done that, changed the fan to some weird number, and like nothing's changing. And I realize, 15 minutes later, I've been changing the fan. All right, so 1360, 1420, 1440, 1440. All right, so let's see what we got here. I'm going to hit F5 instead this time. All right, so we're getting our clocks in. Control F5 to clear the cache. All right. So as the miner's coming up, 3650, 3678, 59, 35, 35, 34. So we can see, even though we know we got Silicon Lottery, we can see that the 3650, 37, 3678, and this one, it was either number 1 or number 2, actually had the best native hash rate. But we're at 98, 94, 97, 93, 93, 97. So the power is all kind of hovering around the same until you get to this 1460. That seems to be the threshold where power starts to go up a little bit higher. So I'm kind of liking, let's see what happens if we take and move everything to this GPU2 settings, which, by the way, is where I started to begin, where I actually ended up after realized I should do a video. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Whoops. 1350. 1350. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. I want to make sure I got 6,000 mem. Power, everything else is the same. We're going to save. Save. Worker updated. Worker is updating. And we wait. There we go. All right, so what do we got now? Let's do Control F5. Let's do one more. And it actually populate the whole screen. And I don't know what, it's hit or miss for, at least in my system, if I get the graph bar now, and the graph's over here. And I'm running, I like 51060 for NVIDIA cards. I have one rig on the latest, and it doesn't do well. I mean, it does well, but it's just not as stable. I'm thinking about moving it back. All right, so 3645, 3670, 3653. So we're looking good here. 35. So even though everybody's at 1450, this is still lower by 1 and 2, right? 103, and these are actually using more wattage, the rest of these guys. Like I'm okay with 3520 if I can get down to 89 watts, right? So let's try one more thing. I am going to bump all these to 1470. And that's going to put us right around the 100 watt, 101, 102 watt range. I'll wait for this to configure. There we go. As my temperatures went up from the last time they actually showed up, they were in the high 50s. Now they're in the low 60s. More wattage, more temp, more heat. And I can tell you what the temperature is in my room right now. It's really nice. The AC affinity I can monitor remotely. The only thing I wish is they had Wi-Fi. Actually, I think they actually have Wi-Fi now. So my, let's see if you guys actually see what that looks like. So my temperature is 108.7, 37 humidity. It is 98 out right now outside. So it's not too bad. I'm kind of happy. It's under 110. And yes, I know that sounds hot for my GPUs, but my GPUs, as you can see, are not overheating. It's the amount of airflow that I have going across them and how much air is coming from the back of the mining room to the front of the mining room where the cards are, and that colder air comparatively is going across the cards, and then the heat goes up to my exhaust. And I don't know, I do have a video on the AC fittings I put in, but I have a T10 exhausting out and two T6s pulling air in. I actually force air into the room as well. I'm actually thinking my garage, and this is all my garage is actually about the automatic timer connector for my smart stuff. Battery died, I haven't changed it, but last I looked on the manual one, it was 96. It's actually cooler in my garage than it is outside right now. And my mining room, as you can see, it was just 108. So I'm actually thinking about putting a couple vents on the bottom to actually pull some of the colder air from the garage itself. Because the garage is cinder blocked and then insulated. And a friend of mine that's in construction was telling me that if I put an insulating blanket on my door, which is meant for the door, and it's like $200 to do my double car garage door on that, and the single car garage. So I have a 3-car garage. It's like $200 for the material, and it's easy to put on. So I'm actually thinking about doing that as well. So let's do a check here. Let's see what we got here. 3664, 3535. But I'm really not real happy with this, right? So I think we're gonna go back, and I know we'll be a little bit less than hash rate, but every card was within one, and this bottom card, which is probably the worst, is it's going to be within 2. It needs more power for some reason. It's really not worth it for me to do that. Now let's go over to so flight sheet, just so you guys see. Nothing fancy, literally. So if you were mining ETH and you're moving over to ETC, you would literally just grab, where's ETC at? ETC, and then you can say update and go, because you got no overclocks or anything else you gotta do. But we're mining Flux. I'm going to my Flux wallet on Zelcore because I need a little bit more. I just don't want to buy it, so I need to mine a little bit more. It's about 3 more days I gotta mine and I'm good. Plus, they don't sponsor me, but the pool I'm going to is having this big giveaway. So if I put my address out there, and I'm using my Mini Z. Now you can use Gminer or LL Miner. I started out with LL Miner. I got crappy results off of it. And then I did a little research and found that Mini Z is best for NVIDIA cards, and it specializes only in NVIDIA. So I thought, well, let's do that. All right, so you can see I'm going to Hero Miners. All right. Again, they don't sponsor the channel or anything like that, but if they are listening, their dashboard, I'm not a big fan of it. They try to give you a lot of information, but really, can we tab these instead? And this way, I don't have to scroll all the way down to the bottom here to get my information. All right, so 216 is my current hash. 202 is right here. So because we switched this around so much, when you look at your hash rate from Hive if you can get your hash rate and get that card efficient, and then go to your pool, probably after about an hour, maybe 2 hours, you'll see most times, not a guarantee, but most times, and you have the right pool region selected, you have, this will be much higher than what your hash rate that you think is on HIVEOS. Now, this always fluctuates based on the pool, all right, but I've only been mining, well, that's what, almost 2 now, 4 minutes to 2, less than an hour, and it's already got 1.6, all right? There goes my dog barking. I believe my wife is about to get up. My wife works nights, so she is probably coming down now at 2 o'clock. Now, so they have their giveaway here. You guys can read that when you go to it. So if Miner Heroes listening, here's 2 suggestions for you. 1, tab all this other information out here, so this way I can get to my information quickly. And even if you want to put this information in order in the tab, I can go right to my tab, and I got no problem with that. The other is, and this is something I always do, give me a second here, guys, and I'm going to see if I can get OBS to pull in my DOS window here. Whoops. I don't need another camera. I need a window capture. Create new. And there's the command right there. Perfect. All right. So let me make this a little bigger. And then I'm just going to switch here. All right. So let me switch screens here. Oops. Well, it's over me, but oh well. So here's the thing. If you do ping, for instance, 2 miners, it gives me back my lateness, right? But if I ping hero miner, is it miners or miner? It is miners. I lost my DOS window. There we go. Miners.com. I get their address, but it times out. They are blocking pings, right? That's not all that much fun because you select sometimes a pool based on latency to it, right? Depending on how many hops and everything else you got to go to. And that brings me to my last thing on this very long video. I apologize, guys. So if you go in the, if you haven't been here lately, if you go to minepool.stats.stream, and then you just put Flux in here, and you'll see Flux. And these are all the pools. So the most hash rate right now is on Miner Pool. If you really are about the security of the network, you don't want to put all the hash rate in one spot, right? So you kind of want to spread it out. And then you got Hero Miners is number 2, and their fees are 0 right now. That's the other nice thing is in the whole month of September they're doing fees at 0. Fluxpool.net, that's actually I think run by Fluxpool. They're the ones, if you go to their website, runonflux.io, this is the one they connect you to. And top 3, 2 miners, Germany, and so that's the other thing too. So Germany, 2 miners. That's why my latency was 47 milliseconds, because I'm actually pinging Germany for that. And that's just, you want, especially if you're going to solo mine, but you want to have the quickest connection out. All right, guys. So that is pretty much it. Have a great day. Have a blessed day. Stay profitable. And leave in the comments what coin you're going to mine. I'll do another one. If you guys like this kind of video for overclocking, I'll do ERGO. I already did ERGO because I actually mined ERGO to get rid of some. I wanted to close out my wallet from my old rig. So, but I can show you the clocks on that as well. And then I'm going to do Raven coin. Now I'm not going to mine Raven coin until winter here in Florida, which is like 80, but it's just too hot otherwise. All right, and then any other coin you want to do, and then I'll show you another way that you can use your ETH. There's a bunch of coins that you can actually use without changing your algorithm, or without changing your overclock, because the algorithm is exactly the same. All right, and please subscribe and hit the like button and be profitable.